Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CNT podcast. And this is a very different scene. Uh, I am Tommy Terrio, and of course, you all know. Introduce yourself.
Dylan Traeger, happy to be here today. Thank you, Tommy.
Yep, and Justin's not with us. He decided to, take a break for a week. For those of you worried, don't worry. He will be back next week, but he said, "All right, you guys can, have the reins for the show today." So let's hope Justin doesn't get too mad at us with what happens today.
No promises.
Fingers crossed. So, today we're talking about we're giving our free agency predictions. There's a lot of like minor guys, Brandon Nimmo, Will Myers. Like, if we wanted to spend 4 hours, giving you guys all the breakdowns of every single guy and making you want to fall asleep, we could do that. But out of respect for you guys and your time, we're gonna give about 15 to 20 of the biggest names. I don't know what the exact number is. I didn't count. Of the guys that you guys are really here to see, the biggest names. Dylan, you want to lead us off with Josh Bell, I believe is the first guy on our list.
I would love to start with Josh Bell. So the new Padre was in the Juan Soto trade.
Yep.
Padres had a great end of the season there. Beat the Dodgers there. I think they're definitely a World Series contending team if Tatis is in action. I think if he's offered the contract, he will stay with San Diego. They're a great team with a big future. I think there's no reason to leave. He's looking for a ring, He's been in the league for going on, 10 years now? I think every guy wants a ring. I think his best bet is staying down in San Diego.
Yeah, because he was on the World Series team, right? In 2019 with the Nationals, he was on that World Series team, right?
No, he was with the Pirates, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. So he still needs the ring.
Yeah. So he was on the Pirates that year. He was an All-Star too. 37 home runs.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
When did he go to Washington? He went to
2021.
Washington. 2021. All right.
Yes, but 1.5 years there.
So yeah, it's either the Padres. So that was my answer. But if I'm gonna give another team just for the sake of argument and throwing another name out there, I think if he just moved up a little bit in California and went up to the Giants.
Is that why you're wearing orange today?
No, this is actually the Orioles.
Oh,
we'll get to them later. Don't worry.
Well, all I see is the up, and I see the orange and black. So I had no clue.
I figured you didn't. I figured I'm washing my sheets right now, so I figured you didn't want to see just my bed without any sheets on them. So, I decided to spare the people of that. So, if Wilmer Flores is your best option at first base, you're not a team really looking on the up, and they have a good mix of young and old talent. Especially, the rotation has a lot of promise going forward. So, Josh Bell, if you want a veteran anchor, that's your guy, and he's not going to be especially expensive, really.
Right. And I think the Giants, they got a really good team. They said 100-something wins in 2021. I think they're definitely a playoff team, and I think they're just a little too hesitant to let go of some of those older guys like Brandon Crawford starting at shortstop. That you're not going to win with him starting at shortstop anymore, So I think we're going to see them spend a lot of money this offseason.
I would hope so. Obviously, as a Rockies fan, you don't entirely want that. But the Rockies aren't doing anything anytime soon. So for the sake of the Giants, I hope that they spend money.
Right.
All right. Next guy.
Going to what? JD Martinez? Is that next?
Yep. That's what I have next.
JD Martinez, who honestly did not have a great season this year. He was an all-star, but compared to his last 2 years with Boston, not a great end to the contract.
No.
And that was a big contract he had. He had that 5-year contract. He did win a ring with Boston. I could imagine him staying in Boston. I think if they offer him a multi-year contract, a little bit of money, 2, 3, 4 years, I'd see him staying there. If they don't want to keep re-sign him, because they could be rebuilding. I'm not really sure what they want to do. I see him going to Cleveland. Cleveland could use another bat. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but I definitely could see him
Man,
going to Cleveland.
back to back, you had the same pick as I did. Are you kidding me?
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
well, I mean,
Great minds think alike.
you mind if I continue on that thought though?
Go for it.
The number one thing that plagued Cleveland in the offseason or in the postseason was that they couldn't score.
Right.
When you have Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie, Cal Quantrill, and on a good day, Zach Plesac, like that is a postseason winning, like that is a World Series winning rotation right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you have perennial MVP runner-up Jose Ramirez. Like you're going to win a lot of games, but JD Martinez thrown in that lineup, that is something special, and that could help them make a run because Quan burst onto the scene this year. Oscar Gonzalez was intermittently great. And then Jose Ramirez is, a top third
Right.
baseman.
He's good every year.
Yeah. So I mean, you bring in JD Martinez and you don't have to deal with Josh Naylor anymore. I mean, Josh Naylor's hitting 256, 20 home runs, 771 OPS, so it was good. But we both know what you can
It's
get
not
out of
going to
JD
win them anything,
Martinez.
Right? Yeah. Josh Naylor, he fills the spot. JD Martinez does a lot more than filling the spot.
He elevates the spot, if you will.
Yes, exactly. That's a good pick, I think. Next, what do I want to do? Jock Peterson.
Yep.
Staying on the Giants side, I've got him re-signing with the Giants. I think he plays their system really well, and he fits very well. He's coming off what could be arguably his best season of his career. He hit 275, 23 home runs, second All-Star appearance. He's just a really affordable, cheap guy. Get him for 2-year deal, under 30 million. I think it's a no-brainer for them to bring him back.
So I see him as a bridge piece for instead of for the Giants for another team. I'm going down to South Beach. I'm going down to Miami.
Okay.
I think
Explain.
they need a bridge piece because that team with all the pitching talent in the world, I mean, both currently in the majors and in the minors, as well as a lot of up and coming guys, you need as much veteran presence to A, bring those guys up, and B, be a bridge in between. Like, because at this point, they're with Sandy, Pablo Lopez,
Trevor Rogers, Luzardo,
Braxton Garrett, and if Sixto Sanchez can come back to doing what he was doing like September of 2020, like if all those things can come together, you're going to be winning a decent amount of games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not looking to tank. So you need a Jock Peterson type of guy that brings a certain level of to the clubhouse.
I agree with that, but I think, to be honest, I think they definitely have the rotation to win. Their offense is terrible. They've got nothing. I think
it is
They
bad.
need to trade Jazz, and I think they need more than Jock. I think they need a superstar. They could have kept their guys they had in 2015, and they'd be a World Series team. They could have kept Stanton, Real Muto, the whole team. They had a great team then. I think you need to get it. Who doesn't want to play in Miami? They should be one of the best landing spots, and they're not. Everyone wants to play in Miami.
It's weird too.
Everyone would want to play in Miami, but no one does. And I think that's where this could change. If they could start getting a few big name guys, who knows? I mean, that's just my perspective. I don't get why you wouldn't want to play in Miami.
By the way, listen to this. So there's a good combination of young and old. I just looked at this 2015 Marlins team. There's a great combination of young and old going on here. Ready for this?
Great team. Go ahead.
Real Muto, Justin Bohr, if you remember he was like,
he was an all-star. Yeah.
Yeah, he had that runner-up in the home run derby.
He did like 20, 30 home runs every year.
D Gordon, or D Strange Gordon, sorry.
That's prime. That's prime.
Yeah, that is 58 stolen bases in a season, D Strange Gordon.
Yes.
Adani Hechavarria, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great flashback. Martin Prado, I don't know him.
You don't know
That
Martin
does not ring a
Prado,
bell.
Braves legend?
Yeah, no, that does not mean that name does not mean anything to me. I'll be
Wow,
honest.
he's before your time.
You're 2 years older than me. What's your point?
He hit 290 that year. I mean, he had a good year, you know.
Christian Yelich, Marcelo Zuna, Giancarlo Stanton. But then you go like look at the bench: Ichiro Suzuki, Derek Dietrich, Mike Morse, Donovan Solano, Jared Saltalamacchia. I mean, 29-year-old Steve Cishek. Wow.
Their pitching was disgusting though. Their pitching
It
was
is.
terrible.
Oh,
They had a
Tom
great
Kohler,
rotation.
Dan Herron, David Phelps, Matt Latos,
Their
Justin
their bull
Nicolino,
their
and
bullpen was great. Just their rotation was awful.
yeah, AJ Ramos. What?
2.3 ERA in 71 games.
Why do I know that name?
Well, you should know that name.
He had one All-Star appearance, and his best season was 2014 in Miami, where he threw a 2.11.
Former
He had
Rocky
a
too.
3.04 career ERA.
Former Rocky. You should know this.
Yeah, 2020. We don't.
Hmm.
We 26 and 34, fourth in the NL West. Yuck. All right.
All right, let's move on. What do you want to do? Gene Segura.
Yup.
Gene Segura. You, my friend, are a Chicago White Sox. They've got a big gap at second base. We saw that this year. Larry Garcia playing second, calling up Lennon Sosa from the minor leagues. Ever since trading Nick Madrigal, not that he's any good right now, so I don't really regret the trade. They've had a huge gap at second. I think Segura is just what they need. He hit 280 this year, 10 home runs. I liked Elvis Andrews kind of filling in at second and shortstop because of Tim Anderson's injury, but I don't see Andrews coming back next year. You know, I think Gene Segura on a 2-year deal could be a good fill, and he's not too expensive either.
No, that makes sense. I don't know. This one was one I was having trouble with because he's good, but not great. And I'll be honest, the first team that came to mind was the Padres, actually.
Hmm.
Because Jake Cronin, so let me just talk my way through that. So Jake Cronenworth burst onto the scene in 2020, 2021. 2021. That was yeah. And was, honestly rookie of the year candidate, and he was great. He was not that in 2022.
He's also old. He's 28.
He's not a young he's not a young third year player. So,
Right. Yeah.
and for a team that has so much potential, I think Segura is a pretty good, budget option compared to some of the other names that we could see, a little bit later down this list. If I did have to provide another place, he could just stay in Philly. I
I
think it's
definitely could see
completely
that.
reasonable for them to just say, "Hey, come on back. We'll just let's just run it back and call it a day." I think that's also a possibility.
Right. Right. See what happens with that. Next up, going to Anthony Rizzo, Mr. Italian. I got him staying with the Yankees. Added 225, 32 home runs. Definitely was hitting the long ball this year, but his numbers have been kind of dipping a little bit. That batting average is a little concerning. He's never been an average hitter, or at least he wasn't his peak. But you're in contention for World Series. He's having a good time with New York. I'd see him staying there. If I were him, I'd think a 1-year deal would be pretty feasible. He's looking for a good record year, kind of get the bag next year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have him staying in New York as well. The reason being is if he doesn't come back and they don't sign another guy, sorry, you're throwing DJ LeMahieu at first. And if you were
Well,
the
they have Donaldson
Yankees,
too, right?
they have Donaldson, but he'll need to play third, right? LeMahieu is not
Could put him at first.
I don't know. It's just when you're the Steinbrenners and you have more money than I could ever dream of, and are willing to break whatever luxury tax you need to. Well, Judge is obviously the first, second, third, and fourth concern of the team. What if he doesn't come back? Like we'll talk more about where he could go later. But if he doesn't come back, you need as much offense as you can get. So Anthony Rizzo needs to be there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, we got the Japanese phenom. Hope I'm saying this right. Kodai Senga.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't.
Okay. I could definitely see him going to the Cubs. My reasoning for this, they've got fellow Japanese player Seiya Suzuki. They were on the same team, but they're both from Japan. They've got that connection. Cubs definitely need some pitching, and I definitely could see him going there. For anyone who doesn't know, Senga's played in Japan since 2012. One of the better pitchers in Japan. 2.59 ERA since 2012. 1,200 strikeouts. One of the better players, only 29 years old, still very young.
Yeah, I think the Cubs could work. I think so. He's 29 right now, right?
Yes.
So that's where I pause and I'm like, all right, that kind of concerns me. If I'm a GM, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, hey, I got a talent who's A, unproven against MLB competition, and B, he's 29. So with that being said, I think he's going to Seattle Mariners.
That was my runner-up.
Seattle's starting pitching staff. You got Marco Gonzalez, who's one of the most unfortunate pitchers in the MLB right now. I don't know if that's the word you would use, but that's the word I would use, is unfortunate. And then Robbie Ray was not a Cy Young last year. Luis Castillo was great, but he only showed up halfway through the year. I think Kodai Senga would be great there. And then I don't know why I keep sending people here, but San Diego again.
It's just also another team, San Diego, San Francisco, big market team who would want to play in California, besides Oakland. But it's a big market team. I think teams like that could be in on a lot of players,
Big market, big money, and they're close.
Right.
Like, what does that team do against the Phillies if they have Fernando Tatis?
Exactly. It's a lot easier.
And you throw in Kodai Senga to that as well, and you say, all right, wait a minute. We got a guy here. That's pretty good.
No, I agree with that. Going on next, Jose Abreu. This one just really unfortunate for me. I'd love to see him play again for the Sox. He's expressed it that he wants to play his career here. No doubtly a Hall of Famer. He's getting his number retired. I personally, as a Sox fan, I can't picture him in a uniform that isn't us. And there's a lot of controversy to it because Andrew Vaughn proves that he's ready to play at first base. He doesn't want to play outfield. So then you can say, okay, put Abreu.
Vaughn can't play out. I mean, he can, but he's not.
He can. He's very average.
Yeah.
You stick him in right, he's okay. You say, okay, put Abreu at DH. Well, you can't really do that because Grandal likes to play DH. Gavin Sheets likes to play DH. Eloy Jimenez can't play outfield. He needs to play DH. They've got an overabundance at first base and outfield. And there's going to be a lot going on this year. I'd love to see him come back and play first. Play DH, but it could go any way.
Can I be honest how I see it?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're thinking of value or anything else. Like I could pull up, an MLB trade simulator or whatever else. But Honestly, he might be a sign and trade with the Yankees for DH LeMahieu, just straight up. If
Does he
they
play
don't,
second? He plays second, right?
LeMahieu plays second.
Okay.
Because if Rizzo doesn't come back, you're looking at DJ LeMahieu or Josh Donaldson at first, which is not encouraging.
Right.
You bring in, I mean, if you want to look at a Yankees player, like a Yankees type of player, you're not going to like it, but it's Jose Abreu. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring him in, slot him in at first. You move. I mean, you have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and you have Gleyber Torres. Those are your middle infielders. That's how it should be.
Well, you look at the Yankees too, and they're a team that struggles with batting average. You saw in the postseason they couldn't hit the ball at all. But Braves a guy. He hit 310 this year. He hit 20 home runs. Every year he's hitting 280 to 300, and he's getting 20, 30 home runs every year. I think he's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got Wilson Contreras. Justin, I'm sorry about this one. I think he's a Minnesota Twin. I don't see the Cubs re-signing him. They're not looking to win right now. They're not in any phase to win. For Minnesota, they've got Ryan Jeffers at catcher, and he's not doing the job. Definitely could see Wilson Contreras going down there to Minnesota. What do you think?
I think Minnesota makes sense.
Let me add this in too. Ryan Jeffers, their everyday catcher, batted 210 and 200 at bats. Yes, and he's young too, but he's
Still,
not good. Yes,
yeah,
not good.
no, that's bad.
They had Mitch Garver. Remember Mitch Garver?
I like Mitch Garver. What happened to him?
He was like a silver slugger for them. He had 273 in 2019. Then he had a terrible year in the COVID year. He sucked in 2021, and now he's hitting 207 with Texas this year.
Oh, I forgot because he was part of that Kiner-Falefa
Connor
trade.
Cliff, yeah, he fell off completely.
I'm about to say something that might make Justin burn me at the stake. I have a good idea of a team that would really like to have Wilson Contreras that just had a catcher who recently departed and has a lot of great offensive and defensive talent. That team is the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Like I said, Justin would hate it, hate it to, beyond all belief. But the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. Like,
I think it makes a lot of sense, and they've got a team to win right now.
yeah,
He's the long-term catcher. If you draft a catcher, it's gonna be 3-5 years. He could be the answer.
and there's a lot of other, offensive pieces. Biggest thing right now, Jordan Montgomery, Wayno's still there.
Yes, shockingly, but he's still hanging in.
Yeah. If 2019 Jack Flaherty shows up, this team is a World Series team if they sign. I mean, we're talking, World Series level team if 2019 Jack Flaherty shows up again.
How about if Jordan Hicks can play how he should be? Jordan Hicks
The pitcher?
peaks at
Yeah.
104, 105, 106 out the bullpen.
They also have a Helsley, right? He's the
Closer.
yeah.
You ever see his entrance going into the game?
No.
Watch that. Watch it. They turn the whole stadium red and they start playing Hell's Bells for Helsley. You should share your screen and show it.
Yeah, give me a second.
It's unreal.
I gotta do it, so I got other stuff I'm doing, so I don't want anyone else to see my other tabs.
Good. One of the best intros in the league.
Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I see it.
All right.
The Cardinals have made their closers
Oh, come
entry
on.
into
We don't want to hear this newscaster, but here.
the game a
You guys
little
get
more
the idea.
dramatic.
They started
This
playing
is
hell's
awesome.
bells over that. I mean, that is if you're in the playoffs and you're going against the Cardinals, it's the ninth inning and you see that, you know the game's over.
Yeah, it's been fun, guys.
Have fun
Yeah,
going to
that's
Have fun going to
awesome.
Cancun.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's incredible.
what's his name? Miles Mikolas as well. He's
Yes.
very
Uh-huh.
up and down, but just saying, just there's a
Right.
shot.
I can see it. I like that take. That's one of the best ones I think you've said.
Justin's not gonna be happy about that, but
Well, he should have been here then.
yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Dansby Swanson. He was offered $100 million extension, which he declined, but he has shown interest in a reunion in Atlanta. Another solid year from him. Batted 280, 25 homers, 100 runs, 100 RBIs. Was an all-star and a gold glove. He's been playing really good these last few years. I'd see him staying in Atlanta. You just want to ring with them. They've been playing pretty good postseason ball. I don't see a reason for him to leave if they're willing to pay him 125 million long term.
So now we've entered the crux of the like the three-headed monster that is the shortstops of this class. And
There's a lot of them.
Swanson coming into the year was not supposed to be anywhere near the other two, but that's what happens when you have a season like he did. So
Right.
I have him going sorry, to the Seattle Mariners. Actually, wait, no, wrong guy. Wait, let me check my notes. Yep, no, wrong guy. Okay, good. I completely botched that. Great.
Okay.
Yay me. Yeah, he's going. I referenced the jersey earlier. He's going to the Orioles.
Why?
Their current shortstop is
They've got Gunnar Henderson. Isn't he going to play short or is he playing third?
he's third. You got Ramon Urias and Jorge Mateo as the middle infielder. Jorge Mateo is fine. But I am not going to sit around here and say that I would rather have Dansby Swanson, or I would rather have Ramon Urias than Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't see any big guy going to Baltimore, though. I don't know. They've never been, a destination spot. All their guys over the years have mainly been draft picks. It's one of the worst spots to go to.
This is a buy now team, though, and I think they're going to be willing to shell out all the money necessary.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're leaning towards the other side too. I mean, I think they're leaning towards like younger players, like a long-term winning team.
Yeah.
I don't know how long Swanson can be relevant.
How old is he right now?
His rookie year was 17. So that's what,
Dansby
6 years ago.
Swanson is 28.
And he hit 250 last year too. I don't know.
I'm just saying I think it's realistic personally.
I think they'd have to pay a lot of money for anyone to go there.
Yeah. I just think that they have the money. That's just my
They do.
opinion is that I think they have the money.
They have to overpay a lot, I think, for anyone. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's just,
That's how it is. Yeah.
that's the nature of the beast. So
Right. All right, we're down to our last 3, 4, 5, last few guys. Next up, got Carlos Rodon. I think this can go a lot of ways. He's definitely looking to test his market in free agency. He's coming off the best 2 seasons of his career. Obviously looking for a long-term deal. And I think the top 3 for him are really the Giants, the Cubs, and the White Sox. That's a lot that I've been hearing. One red flag is just his injury past. Coming from a White Sox fan, his rookie year was 2015, and he didn't have one full healthy season. It's a little bit concerning, and any team that's going into signing him has to, remember he hasn't had one full season besides this year where he was healthy.
yeah.
So
I
that's
will
where the
say
Sox didn't resign him.
he did have one. I will say he had one. 2016.
but he wasn't good then, you know?
That's true. He had a 4.04 ERA, exactly 100 ERA plus. Like he was
And
right
coming
on the
from
money
someone
there.
who watches every game, like that's not like a good 404 ERA, you know? That's like it's like going into the game knowing he's giving up 4, 3, 5 runs a game, you know?
Yeah, I know what
It
you mean.
was like you can have Giolito go into the game knowing he's either going to give up 1 run over 8 or 5 over 8, you know? But
That's not
Rodon,
that, yeah, and that's not what you want. Almost more
it
than
was like
anything
it's like
else. Like,
Dallas Keuchel, how it was for all those years when Rodon pitched. You know it was going to be a loss, and you know they're going to give up a bunch of
that's
runs.
hard.
But
That's really hard.
definitely got to be careful. I don't know how many teams are willing to give him a long-term deal right now, just with how past is.
Yeah, I just had him going back to the Giants. I think it's not. I think people are making it a bigger deal than it is, like his free agency.
I think he's very hyped up right now, and I don't think it's all that, you know.
I really don't either. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with him just going back to the Giants and just calling it a day.
I agree. 2-year deal, maybe, you know, decent amount of money.
But yeah, I don't know. That rotation is good when Rodon's in
Very
there.
good.
That rotation is good. And you throw
Very
Josh
good.
Bell in there, like I said earlier. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wild card to division level team right there.
Really like Logan Webb too. He's very young and he's pitching really well.
Is he really that young? I didn't think he was that young.
Yeah, he's 25.
Jeez. Can
He
someone
was a
explain to me
rookie.
why I didn't realize that?
He was a rookie in 2020.
Yeah, I
He's
just did
he's
not know that. His
no, he's a
birthday's
young
in a couple
guy.
days.
Oh, happy birthday, Logan. All right. Next up, going to the Mets, we got Brandon Nemo, Finding Nemo, whatever you want to call it. I think for the Mets, they're going to prioritize paying DeGrom over Nemo. You know, I imagine other teams offering big money for Nemo compared to what the Mets are going to offer. But you got to figure if they're bringing back DeGrom, that's going to cost them anywhere between 200 and I'd say 350 million. Getting him for 8, 10 years. Uh, that's just me. I'd see them going for one guy at a time.
Yeah, and Nemo's much more replaceable than a Jacob DeGrom type of guy is.
Exactly right. Jacob
For what
DeGrom's
it's
like a
worth,
once in a
though,
lifetime
DeGrom.
player.
Okay, we'll get into the DeGrom situation, like length and everything else when it
Right.
comes time to that. Where'd you have him going though?
I think it really all depends on what happens with DeGrom because I think if they lose out on DeGrom, Nemo goes back.
Yeah,
But if
because they
they
have
get
money to spend
DeGrom,
anyway.
I don't think we'll have the money to bring him back. So I'm not. It's kind of TBD, you know.
Yeah. I will say this just because it makes me happy on the inside. This is the only guy that Rockies fans are saying, hey, realistically, this is a guy like because everybody says, hey, let's have Judge come to town and he'll hit 130 home runs in the altitude. But Brandon Nemo's a very realistic option. Especially if you say to Charlie Blackmon, hey, thanks for your it's been a long time. 10 plus years of service. Yeah, 11 years. Thanks for your 11 years of service. We really appreciate all that you've done. But we're gonna choose to move on. Brandon Nemo's really the best option.
You
Because
think
I
they're
don't
gonna
know
move
that
on from
Zach Veen will be
Blackman?
ready. I don't know that Zach Veen's ready come like the start of the year.
You think they're moving on from Blackman?
I think so. I hate to say it. I think so though.
That'd be tough.
Yeah. Second longest tenured Colorado sports athlete.
Is Todd
Currently.
Helton number one?
No, currently, sorry.
Oh, currently. Okay. Who's number one?
Um Eric Johnson of the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay. I'm not a big hockey guy.
But yeah, Johnson's been around probably 15 years. So
Okay. All right. Do we want to get into guys who already signed or no? Like,
sure, there hasn't
I had
been too
Verlander.
many as of time of recording. For what it's worth, we're recording this Saturday. So if stuff goes down, Sunday or quite early Monday, just don't get too mad at us.
Should we skip Kershaw since he already made his move or no?
Yeah. Nick Anderson.
Rafael
Okay.
Montero made his re-signing today, but we can stay on track. We'll go to Justin Verlander. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys left. Justin Verlander declined his option this week with Houston. It was not the most expensive option. And I think after winning the ring, I think he's going to just want more money from Houston. Definitely could see him re-signing for 2 years for a good amount of money, $50, $60 million for 2 years.
I agree. I agree on the salary, 25, 30 million just still makes sense. Right.
Mhm.
But it's a 1 year. It has to be a 1 year deal. I don't care how good of a season the guy had at 39, how much of a miracle season it is coming off of Tommy John. The guy came off of Tommy John, but then he had a Cy Young, but then he's gonna be 40. What do you do? I'm not paying anywhere near 20 something. If you're gonna do it, it has to be like 30 something million dollars the first year and then 20 something the next year.
You
But
never
the
know.
20 something has to be a club option if you're the Astros.
You never know, because some of the guys, back in the day, like Roger Clemens, who was on Houston, when he was 42 and they were in the World Series, he had a 1.87 ERA and 32 starts. And back in the day, some of these guys, they throw to their arms fell off. I think Verlander could be one of those guys if he can stay relevant.
If you're gonna look at anybody today who's in that core, like older, like the old guard of pitchers, if you will, like your Scherzers, your Verlander, your Kershaw, even like. They were raised, they weren't raised in the time of load management and, bullpen days. Like that wasn't a thing, you pitched 8 innings, that's just how, 7, 8 innings. That's just how it was.
Right.
I will say it's kind of weird. Like we've grown up, like from when we were born, you're 2004.
Yeah.
I'm 2006. Like when we were born, it wasn't a thing to, like bullpen days were not a thing, but in the time,
No.
that we've been on earth, hey, bullpen days are now like people do that all the time. It's just a thing.
Right.
It's weird, but
Well, it's a complete different era to how it was, 10 years ago, how pitching was, like 15 years ago, just pitchers, they'd go in and they'd have to get, as you said, 7, 8 innings. And it's the guys would throw until their arms fell off. You look at Nolan Ryan, who started pitching in the 60s and he went till the 90s, they'd throw till their arms went off.
imagine,
Like Mark, go ahead.
imagine if Barry Bonds focused on launch angle. Imagine if Barry Bonds had a Aaron Judge approach to baseball instead of a Barry Bonds approach to baseball. Like, we're talking about, a very different world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
The Twins are making a new logo. What?
What is it?
November 18th, the Twins are coming out with a new logo.
So where do you have Verlander going? Staying with Houston?
Staying with Houston on a 1 year deal.
Okay.
And if it's 2, it has to be a club option. I think.
All right.
I think if anyone is going to assume the risk, it has to be Houston. That's the way I see it.
All right. Going up to Xander Bogaerts as our final 5 are coming up. I don't see him leaving the Red Sox, coming off another great year. Hit 307, 15 home runs, All-Star and Silver Slugger. Just continues to get better and better every year. I see them signing him long-term again.
This is the guy I had going to the Mariners. He's a second baseman. The Mariners don't have a second baseman. Adam Frazier was supposed to be that guy. He isn't. Abraham Toro never was that guy. And what does Xander Bogaerts have in Boston? Devers hasn't been re-signed. There's no assurance of JD Martinez, Nathan Eovaldi. Heck, we don't know if Chris Sale is even still alive with how many injuries he has every day.
That's crazy.
That team is not anywhere close to anything. So there's no purpose for him to stay. Also, when they already won together, you know.
Mhm.
So I say, hey, I think he's going to Seattle. I think they need a second baseman. Dipoto has shown that he's willing to go out and get the guys he wants. He did that with Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo. I think it makes sense.
I think Boston could be a really good team if they can bring their guys back together and go out and get a little bit more. It's a really hard division. It's 5 teams contending for playoff spots. And with the injuries they've had, but I think they can be very successful if they can keep everyone together. Because I think the
The
guys,
problem
they're
is we
still
just
young.
saw what happened when they had everybody together plus Trevor Story, and it was not good.
That's true, but Trevor Story wasn't the best signing. I'll give it there.
No, that was not. No, it was not. Everybody saw Trevor Story's home road splits in Colorado,
Right. Well,
and
you're
someone
also
had to
playing in
assume that risk,
Colorado,
and it
so
ended up being the Red Sox.
you got to expect that the guys are always going to play better in Colorado. You could look at it with Charlie Blackmon. He said he's looking to leave. Like he's
Where
probably going to play a bit worse when he goes to another team.
It was funny. Me and Justin were talking about him going to the Yankees. There's only one problem with that. I could never let him go to the Yankees. Do you know why?
Why? Oh, you got a point there.
Charlie
He would,
Blackmon without.
he would not go to the Yankees. He would retire before going to the Yankees.
I don't know that. I don't know within his soul that he could do that. You know what I mean?
No, never. It's like James Harden. If he had to shave his beard playing for Brooklyn, he wouldn't have gone to Brooklyn. He would have retired.
Yeah. I don't know. You
It's
remember that one
Steinbrenner for you.
episode? You remember that one episode of The Simpsons where it's the city softball team?
Yes.
And Burns tells Mattingly to shave his sideburns, and
Yes.
he goes bald. And he's like, "No, that's not. No, you need to shave those sideburns."
Yes. One of the best episodes. I think it's the best episode there is of The Simpsons.
Yes.
So good.
Known ex-Woba enthusiast, Homer Simpson.
The Wonder Bat.
Oh,
I think if Aaron Judge went to the Rockies and used the Wonder Bat, then
we're talking 100 home runs in a season.
more than that. We're talking 1 in 3 chance of a home run every time he goes up to the plate. All right.
Wait.
We got our final 4 now.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry. I wanted to look at his home run percent. I just wanted to look at Aaron Judge's home run percentage. Now that you said something. Is that a thing I could find? I think so, right? That's a thing. 8.9%. Every 8.9 times out of 100 that he stepped up to the plate, he hit a home run.
That is something else. How about this? When Barry Bonds at his peak was 12.
So the MLB average is 3.2. Aaron Judge's career is 7. What's Bonds's?
At peak, McGuire was 10.6. No,
Let's see,
I think
Bonds-
you must be wrong about your number then. I don't know.
Bonds's career is 6. But yeah, his peak
I'm
was
on
11.
Yeah. Maybe we're looking at different things. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll show you what I'm looking at. One second. I just came down here. Good old baseball reference, right? Barry Bonds, you come down to advanced batting, you come to batting ratios, you come down to home run percentage.
It's crazy. I think he could have played longer too.
You go to Judge this past year, 8.9%. But I'd like to point out he's consistently above 5 besides his first year in the league.
That doesn't count. 2016.
Yeah, he had how many at bats did he have?
Probably 80 or 100.
84. That was really good.
Yeah. I actually did watch a TikTok yesterday that he was on the team with Mark Teixeira then. And A-Rod in 2016.
Wait. I refuse to believe that. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian McCann, Mark Teixeira, Starlin Castro, Didi Gregorius, Chase Headley, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Aaron Hicks, Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran, Gary
Aaron
young
Judge
Gary
played
Sanchez.
on the team with Mark Teixeira and A-Rod. I think that's just kind of interesting,
Dustin Ackley was on that team.
Yeah, boy did he suck. How about Ike Davis and Ben
Gamble and
Gamble?
Eric Young Jr.
Ben Gamble, a Justin Yormark favorite.
Masahiro Tanaka, CC Sabathia, Michael Pineda, known Mariners legend Michael Pineda.
How about Phil
Nathan
Koch?
What?
Phil Koch.
Ew.
Boy.
28-year-old enrolled this. Oh man, Andrew. Oh, you remember Andrew Miller was the like the franchise fantasy.
He was good.
Like the franchise fantasy draft goat, because you could
He was
draft him
good.
10th round and he was a 96 overall reliever.
He was good.
And you were like, I've never heard of this guy in my entire life.
Well, he like peaked really late, like towards the end of his career.
All right.
Staying on track, going to Trey Turner.
Ugh.
Another guy, I think he is going to the Giants.
Man, the Giants are the best team in baseball. If all of our signings come together, the best team in baseball. Holy smokes, what are we doing?
Well, they obviously need that shortstop.
Yep.
And we'll get into this later, but I think they're getting Correa or Trey Turner. Brandon Crawford's days are coming to an end. And I think the Giants could be the front runners for Turner or Correa to fill the gap. If the Dodgers can, I definitely could see them re-signing him, doing their best to do it. Obviously, they don't care to go for the luxury cap, but definitely see the Giants getting one of the two.
I think Trey Turner's by this time next year, Trey Turner is either a Dodger or a St. Louis Cardinal. I don't know. I just think it makes sense. Find me a better infield in baseball than Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, and Tommy Edman.
Be pretty good.
You can't. That's
right.
I hate to do this. It almost feels like cheating, but that feels like 95 Braves rotation type of positional dominance.
Right.
You look at 10 straight Gold Glover, Nolan Arenado. You look at. Do you mind if I say it? MVP Paul Goldschmidt? Like,
I'd give it to him.
If he doesn't win, it's highway robbery. So yeah,
I
MVP
agree.
Paul Goldschmidt, and then Trey Turner, who is consistently a top 10 player in the league. And he doesn't need a ring. He's probably the third best player on his team anyway.
I just want to take a break to say this, which I think is kind of crazy. Paul Goldschmidt's 35. Like, he's having the best year.
When he was in Arizona, he was so much fun to watch.
He's having the best season of his career at 35, which is still crazy. He's 35. I mean, I feel like his rookie year in 2011 was just yesterday, but.
Am I the only one who finds it crazy that Trey Turner's a top 10 player? I think people pretty unanimously agree he's a top 10 player in baseball, but he's the third best player on his own team.
Well, when you're a big market like LA Dodgers, that's what happens,
I know, but that's just wild to me.
Right.
All right.
You want to go to Jacob deGrom?
Up to you. We got. The big three are left. You go any of the three you want.
All right, let's do deGrom. As I already mentioned today, I think the Mets, they're going to do their best to re-sign him. They don't have a lot of money to play around with. They just spent a lot on Diaz. They spent a lot on Lindor, but I think they're going to do their best to bring deGrom back. And I have heard a lot about the Rangers. Rangers are competing with the Mets for him. He's expressed a lot of interest in playing with the Rangers. I don't think that's happening. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't
either.
I don't know. Does
They
he
had a good
want to
offseason
become
last
Nolan
year,
Ryan?
too.
Because if you want to do that, that is the Mets to the Astros or to Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He was a Ranger at one point, wasn't he, Ryan?
Ryan finished. Did he finish with Texas or did he finish with Houston?
Because I know he was in Houston, obviously, and he was
I think
with
he finished with Texas. Let me look it up.
Yeah, he spent 4 years. He 89,
Okay.
90, 91, 92, and 93. So
Yeah,
5
finished in
years.
Texas. 46-year-old in 1993 at Texas.
And he threw a 4.88 ERA. Like, that's not.
Oh, he threw his arm out. He knew it was the end that year.
But he had an 86 ERA plus. Like, he was better than a lot of other guys in 1993 who were pitching.
I saw a video of him at 75 years old throwing the first pitch for whatever team it was, probably the Rangers or the Astros. Guess what he clocked out at on the radar gun at 75?
I'll say 80 miles an hour.
75 miles an hour. No warm up.
Wow.
75-year-old Nolan Ryan goes out, throws 75. I think that's incredible.
Second hardest thrower in MLB history. Or in baseball history, rather. I should be more specific.
I think that's crazy.
I still think it's probably Satchel Paige, but
You think DeGrom stays to the Mets?
yeah, you're a team with the richest MLB owner, who's shown that he's willing to spend, and yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Right.
If you wanted me to throw a team out there and you were like, Tommy, if you said gun to your head, you can't pick the Mets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dream World, this won't happen. Tell me who is winning a single baseball game against the Cleveland Guardians if they get Jacob deGrom.
I think they got to improve their offense.
Yeah,
They've got a good rotation right now.
Unfortunately, yeah, but just tell me who's scoring more than 3 runs a game, against a team like that. Like, that would be awesome. Again, not happening. I was just throwing that out there just for the sake of having fun with that.
Right.
I don't know. I'm looking around the league and I'm like, not much is really popping out at me.
You also got to keep in mind his injury this year.
Okay. Say Verlander doesn't come back. Tell me I'm crazy about him going to Houston.
I would hate that. I would hate that.
But tell me I'm wrong, though. It makes
I think
sense.
you are wrong. They don't have the money for that.
You don't think?
In what world? No. You know how much they're paying? Like they're definitely at or over the salary cap.
I guess it becomes a question of, are they willing to spend? Who knows?
Well, you got to keep in mind too, Jordan's gonna get paid soon.
Yeah, they got a couple years before they have to do anything with Pena. Obviously,
figure this: they're paying Bregman 30, Altuve 30, McCullers 20, Ryan Presley 20. They're gonna pay Verlander 30. Jordan's gonna deserve.
That's why I said
his contract's over.
If Verlander doesn't come back, they have the money to do it. Like it or not, they have the money to do it.
1 year deal, maybe. I don't know. Kyle Tucker's gonna be worth 20, 25 soon.
The thing is he's 34, and with his injuries already, I'm not giving DeGrom anything more than a 3-year deal. Nothing more than a 3-year deal for Jacob deGrom. I'm saying 3 years, somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 million, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
And he's going back to the Mets. But if you said gun to your head, give me another team, it's the Houston Astros.
All right, I respect it. Number 2 on the list, Carlos Correa. I already got into this, but I think between Correa and Trey Turner, one of them goes to the Giants. They have the money. They need a shortstop. I'll say it again. Brandon Crawford's not a starting shortstop in the league. Don't think Correa really enjoyed his time in Minnesota, to be quite honest. You go to the team looking to win. They finished 3rd in the Central this year. Like, he deserves better. and he's got the market to go to any team he wants.
I got two teams. You want the hot take or the cool take?
Are the Giants on one of those?
No.
Okay.
I'll go with the cool take first. Just we'll escalate. The cool take is the New York Yankees if they don't get Judge. It was supposed to happen last year and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You just say, all right, he's a little bit cheaper this year. We'll go out and get him, and we know what we can get for him. Case closed, call it a day, book it, see you later. Bing, take it to the bank. You're getting an all-star level player, right?
Right.
Hot take. Milwaukee Brewers.
Mm.
You want to point to a team that has no offense but a bunch of pitching, but that's not named the Cleveland Guardians? It has to be the Milwaukee Brewers. So, I don't know. I think it makes sense. Willie Adames is fine, but he can play second, and Carlos Correa can be, an offensive guy, with them. Rowdy Tellez, Christian Yelich anymore, Who else even is there on that team? Like in terms of offense,
It's a very icky team. A lot of wasted talent.
Yep.
Pitching's good.
Victor
Pitching's very good.
Caratini, Colton Wong, Rowdy Tellez, Luis Urias is good.
Yeah.
Garrett Mitchell is everybody's, everybody like the Garrett Mitchell and his wife are essentially the Allison Cooch version of Allison Cooch but baseball. You've seen that?
I've seen her TikToks. Garrett Mitchell's wife. It's a lot. Ready to go into number one?
Yep. You all know who it is.
Aaron Judge. I don't see any chance the Yankees don't re-sign him. They're already, I think they're about $40 or $50 million over their active payroll for 2022. It's not an issue for them to go over it. Definitely keep in mind he is 30. You're looking to sign him long term. I think 7 or 8 years is what would be ideal. Because if he starts to slow down, then at least it's not too long of a contract,
Yeah.
I definitely could see about $320 million for 8 years.
Yeah. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
So the Yankees is obviously the easiest call to make, right?
Right.
But if they were going to re-sign him, they already would have at some point during the year, either before the year, during the year, or after the season was done. He would be re-signed by now, but he isn't.
I think you want to test his luck though a bit and see what he's worth.
I don't want to say this because it goes against all the ethics I have as a baseball fan. But the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't want it to happen. It goes against everything I believe in as a baseball fan. We should not have super teams in baseball. But if Trey Turner leaves, there's a spot there. You slide Mookie Betts into second, or heck, you could throw him in first, or you could throw Judge in center and take out Cody Bellinger and call it a day. But Dave Roberts will find a way to work. Dave Roberts will also find a way to mess it up, but that's a whole nother deal. Hey guys, we guarantee we're winning the World Series.
They really botched up this year.
They really botched that. But if you can find a team to beat that team with Aaron Judge. No, he's going to the Yankees. He's going back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Steinbrenners have more money than dirt and just call it a day. Like
going over
Aaron Judge is the best thing that
doesn't mean anything to them,
Aaron Judge is the best thing that's happened to that franchise in 10 years. Because A-Rod has had all of his controversies, and Mark Teixeira wasn't. Mark Teixeira was great, but he wasn't that great.
You want him a ring?
Yep. That's about it.
That it doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know.
You want to find a guy that's going to win you a ring? Aaron Judge.
Well, you could argue against that with how he played in the postseason this year. He'll
Yeah,
play you a great regular season, and that postseason he played this year, along with the whole Yankees team, was nauseating. I think their best batting average guy was what Kiner Falefa at 260 or 270.
yeah, it was not good. It's just, what do you do though? Because his value can't tank any more than $5 million a year based on that postseason performance. Just with the fact that he's the new regular season AL home run king. Like, it's just one
I
of
don't think
those
his value
things.
tanks at all. I think he's still worth pretty much the same thing. And if one team isn't willing to pay him a certain amount, another team will be. You know,
Yeah,
there's no player in the league that's capable of doing what he just did. But then again, you know, he obviously couldn't produce in the postseason. 15 strikeouts, batted 140. I mean,
it's not exactly encouraging.
with the team they had, they've got a super team, and the team batted 170 in the postseason.
Yeah, it's just, hey, they're showing us they're showing us who they are, and what's the one meme? They are who we thought they were.
What meme?
It's they are who we thought they were. Like they just, you want to talk about postseason ineptitude. I mean, those are
It
your
just
guys right
adds. It
there.
just adds through all their years of failed World Series runs ever since 09.
2017. I mean, I think 2017 is the most egregious example, almost more than anything else.
Chapman give up the home run to Altuve.
Yep.
Stuff.
Anything else you want to bring up? Anything to look forward to with this upcoming off season? Any names to be traded? Anything like that? Any activity we should look at?
I'm really excited. I miss baseball already.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I'm a Bears fan. It's not so much
Mm.
fun to watch. I like seeing Fields play well, but the Bulls they're gonna go in as a 6 seed or a 5 seed, and they're not gonna do anything. I'm ready for some baseball. I
Um,
want to keep an eye on the closer market this year.
yeah,
You see what Diaz just got paid, over
outside
100 million for 5 years.
outside of the Giants, who's going to be the big spender?
What's up?
Outside of the Giants and like your normal, Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, who are going to be the big spenders?
I think the Giants are a good pick, but outside of them,
I think the
I think
Cardinals have to be in that discussion for one.
I think a sleeper team that's going to do well with signings is the Marlins.
And you have mad at me for giving him Jock Peterson.
No, I just think they need a bigger guy to win. They settle. They settle. Last year, it's like the Cubs. They were settling for a bunch of out of prime guys to fill positions, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, your Marcus Stromans, your like Todd Frazier's of the world, those kinds of guys that the Cubs side.
Right. Like they settle. And I think the Marlins, they're either going to settle for a bunch of guys to fill positions to go 75 and 85, or they're going to spend, and they have the money to spend, and they're going to make some moves and maybe be a playoff team.
No, that makes sense.
And as I said, it is Miami. They're going to be a big free agency spot. A lot of foreign guys from Cuba, Dominican, Mexico, they want to play in Miami.
It's closer to home, yeah.
That's the most desirable spot for international players to play. Weather close to home. I mean, the weather's a big thing, but
it's a very nice big city too. Like it's
right,
it has that allure to it.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I think my pick, like I said before, is the Cardinals. It has to be.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Because they just had two legends leave. They have a lot to build on. So
Right.
they're not gonna get DeGrom.
No, they won't.
They could use him. They won't get him though, but they
I
could use.
think there's 30 teams that could use him.
Yeah, I mean everybody could use them. It's just it's hard.
Right.
All
For
right.
so many teams that are in for it.
Yep. It's a lot of money. I mean, 30. I mean, Scherzer got 43. You could make an argument for. Could you make an argument for 50 million?
Not off the year he just had. 2021 DeGrom is a different story.
Yeah.
He is
But
getting there in age. What, he's 33-ish, 35, right? What is he, 33?
34.
34. He went 5-4 this year. He did not play that much. It's I wouldn't go to 50.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody in the league that I would pay 50 million a year. Even Judge. I don't know that I would pay 50 million a year for Judge.
I think if the Yankees are about to lose Judge and you have to pay him 50, I think you pay him 50 to keep him.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
that the asking price is even gonna be that high. I feel like it's 40, 45. I don't know.
well, I agree, but
50 is the threshold that is a scary threshold to look at. Like,
I'd say this though, for a guy like Judge or Trout, if they're threatening to accept an offer with another team for maybe 35 or 40 a year, you give them the money. You're not letting them walk. You cannot.
yeah, you just say, all right, I don't care how much you want. You are our guy.
You got to be stubborn about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's not like it's not going to pan out. You're not going to lose your money on it. He's hit 60 home runs and he had 310. He's not going to. If he hits 280 next year with 35 home runs, fine. That's still an MVP player.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the floor that he can hit is still going to be an all-star player.
Very much so.
You can't lose with re-signing him.
Well, you can if if it doesn't pan out years 5 through 8. You know what I mean? I mean, outside of that,
Most likely, it's not going to pan out 5 through 8, but that's why you got to do it though, because you're winning now. It's like the Angels bringing in Pujols. Obviously, it's not going to pan out. Tigers doing Miguel Cabrera. It's not going to pan out then, but you're winning now.
yeah.
You got to make the sacrifice.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. It was good just have a discussion to ourselves this time.
Yep, had a great time. Thank you.
Yep. So thank you all for watching. We will see you all next week. Peace.